Imagine the power of small actions repeated over time. How tiny decisions today can grow into enormous outcomes tomorrow. In this chapter, we'll uncover the surprising ways compounding works in money, habits, and life itself. We'll see how patience, consistency, and long-term thinking can turn modest efforts into extraordinary results, often in ways that feel almost magical. The magic of small steps. It's easy to overlook the power of small, consistent actions. One drop of water may seem insignificant, yet over time it can carve through solid stone. A tiny seed might appear fragile, yet with care and patience, it grows into a towering tree. The principle is the same in life. Small choices, when repeated consistently, can produce extraordinary results. This is the magic of compounding, a principle that quietly transforms the ordinary into the remarkable over time. Compounding is not just about money, it applies to almost every area of life. Learning a skill, exercising regularly, nurturing relationships, or saving even a modest amount of money can, over the years, accumulate into substantial outcomes. The key is consistency. 1 hour of focused effort repeated daily is far more powerful than bursts of effort followed by neglect. Small steps, when compounded, create a momentum that can eventually feel unstoppable. The confounding aspect of compounding is how deceptively slow it appears at first. A $50 monthly investment may feel trivial, almost meaningless. Reading 10 pages a day may seem inconsequential. Exercising 20 minutes daily can feel too small to matter. Early results are often barely visible, and our intuition underestimates the eventual impact. Yet the power of compounding lies in its exponential nature. Over months and years, the repeated effect accelerates, producing results far greater than any single effort could achieve. Consider the world of finance. Saving a small amount regularly can seem too minor to matter. Yet with consistent contributions and reinvested interest, these modest sums grow over time into significant wealth. Early investors understand this. The most powerful financial advantage comes from time, consistency, and patience, not from occasional, large, risky moves. It is not the size of a single contribution that matters. It is the repeated accumulation over decades. The same principle applies to habits. Reading a few pages daily may not feel impactful today, but after a year it translates into thousands of pages of knowledge. Exercising consistently builds strength, endurance, and resilience, often faster than sporadic, intense workouts. Even relationships benefit from small, repeated gestures. A brief phone call, a thoughtful message, or a small act of kindness, when done consistently, creates stronger bonds than occasional grand gestures. The magic of small steps is amplified by awareness. Recognizing that every minor action contributes to long-term results allows us to appreciate consistency over occasional brilliance. It teaches patience, humility, and the importance of trust in the process. Growth is rarely linear. Often we do not see immediate results, but time amplifies effort. The key is to keep moving, to continue the small actions, even when progress seems invisible. Compounding also offers a lesson in perspective. It reminds us that extraordinary results are not necessarily the product of extraordinary actions, but of regular, repeated decisions sustained over time. It encourages us to value persistence, to invest in ourselves steadily, and to trust that the accumulation of small choices can have a monumental impact. It is the quiet force behind careers, financial security, health, knowledge, and relationships. This principle is both humbling and empowering. It shows us that no matter where we start, consistent effort can produce remarkable outcomes. Small choices, repeated faithfully over time, become the foundation of extraordinary achievements. The magic is in the patience to act daily, the discipline to maintain consistency, and the awareness that every small effort counts. Ultimately, embracing the magic of small steps unlocks the compounding effect in life. Tiny actions, repeated, magnify, accelerate, and transform. Time becomes an ally, consistency a superpower, and ordinary effort evolves into extraordinary results. When we understand and trust this process, we gain the ability to shape our future in profound and lasting ways. The hidden power of patience compounding is powerful, but it cannot work without patience. Time is the multiplier, the secret ingredient that turns small, consistent efforts into extraordinary outcomes. Yet in a world obsessed with instant results, waiting can feel uncomfortable, even unnatural. Patience is not passivity. It is an active trust in the process, a disciplined commitment to continue making small, deliberate choices while resisting the temptation of immediate gratification. Consider money. Investing a modest sum consistently may seem insignificant in the first months or even years. The account grows slowly, almost imperceptibly. Many give up before the real benefits appear. Yet with patience, that same small investment begins to accelerate, compounding not just on the principal, but on accumulated gains. Time transforms minor effort into wealth that often surpasses even the most ambitious one-time actions. The secret is not timing the market perfectly or chasing high-risk returns. It is giving the compounding process time to unfold. Patience works the same way with personal growth. Learning a new skill or building expertise takes consistent practice. At first, progress may be slow, frustrating, or barely noticeable. A single hour spent learning a language or practicing a craft seems trivial, yet repetition and perseverance allow the skill to solidify. Over months and years, fluency, mastery, or creativity emerges, often surprising those who once doubted that small daily efforts could matter. Relationships, too, require patience to compound. Trust, respect, and understanding grow gradually. A single kind gesture, repeated consistently, strengthens bonds far more than sporadic grand displays. Deep connections are built not in dramatic moments, but in the quiet accumulation of attention, care, and presence over time. Impatience, by contrast, can erode relationships, as neglect or inconsistency diminishes the impact of effort. The hidden power of patience also reveals itself in health and fitness. A 20-minute daily walk may feel insignificant today, but over months it strengthens the heart, increases endurance, and improves overall well-being. Small dietary adjustments, practiced consistently, improve long-term health. The compounding effect of these small choices is far more impactful than occasional extreme diets or sporadic workouts. Patience requires faith in the process and a long-term perspective. Human nature often seeks immediate validation, quick wins, or instant progress. But compounding rewards those who understand that visible results are only the final phase of a long accumulation. The early stages may appear tedious, slow, or even frustrating, but they lay the foundation for extraordinary outcomes. Understanding this is critical. Impatience can destroy the potential of compounding before it has a chance to manifest. The psychological challenge is significant. Waiting can feel passive, even frustrating, but reframing patience as an active choice changes everything. Each small action becomes a deliberate investment in the future. Each repetition a brick in the structure of long-term success. Patience allows compounding to operate without interference, enabling exponential growth in ways that short-term thinking could never achieve. History is full of examples. Long-term investors, entrepreneurs, and innovators rarely succeed through sudden breakthroughs alone. They persist year after year, refining skills, investing steadily, and nurturing opportunities. The results of decades of consistent effort often appear almost magical to those who focus only on immediate outcomes. What looks like luck is usually the product of patience compounded with consistent action. In life, patience is the multiplier of effort. It allows knowledge to deepen, skills to mature, wealth to grow, and relationships to flourish. Without patience, even the most diligent work may yield disappointing results, simply because time has not yet allowed compounding to reveal its power. Recognizing this transforms how we approach our goals. We begin to value persistence, trust long-term processes, and appreciate the exponential rewards of disciplined patience. Ultimately, the hidden power of patience teaches a profound lesson. Success is rarely immediate, but it is inevitable when small actions are repeated consistently over time. The combination of effort, patience, and trust in compounding creates outcomes that defy intuition, turning modest beginnings into extraordinary results. Patience is not passive, it is the active force that allows compounding to work its quiet, transformative magic. The danger of neglect. While small, consistent actions can compound into extraordinary results, the opposite is equally true. Neglect, procrastination, and small mistakes can compound into serious problems over time. Just as consistent effort grows wealth, skills, and relationships, consistent inattention erodes them. The compounding effect works both ways. It is neutral, neither inherently good nor bad. Its impact depends entirely on how we direct our choices. Take money as an example. Ignoring small expenses, failing to save, or accumulating debt may feel inconsequential in the short term. One missed payment, a small interest-bearing loan, or casual overspending seems minor today. Yet over months and years, interest compounds, penalties accumulate, and financial stress escalates. Small lapses become much larger consequences. The same principle applies to missed opportunities for investment or education. The earlier we start, the more time compounding has to work in our favor, and the cost of delay grows exponentially. Neglect also undermines personal growth. Inconsistent practice, procrastination, or abandoning a skill after a short time prevents compounding from taking effect. Learning a language, mastering a craft, or developing a professional skill requires repetition, patience, and long-term commitment. Each skipped session or postponed effort delays progress. Over time, these gaps accumulate and potential mastery diminishes. The lost opportunity is far greater than any single skipped day would suggest because compounding magnifies both effort and inaction. Relationships are particularly vulnerable to neglect. Trust, intimacy, and understanding develop gradually. Occasional gestures of kindness or care are helpful, but consistent neglect can erode connection faster than any single failure. A missed call, ignored message, or overlooked need may seem minor individually, yet repeated over months or years, these small lapses weaken bonds. Compounding amplifies the effects of inattention, making it far more impactful than sudden crises. Health is another domain where neglect compounds destructively. Skipping small exercise sessions, ignoring minor dietary habits, or postponing checkups may feel harmless in the short term. Over time, however, these minor lapses accumulate. Blood pressure rises, endurance diminishes, and chronic conditions develop. The compounding effect of neglect in health often manifests decades later, long after early warning signs might have been corrected. Procrastination illustrates this danger vividly. Delaying small tasks repeatedly does not just push work forward, it increases complexity, stress, and effort exponentially. One deferred decision can trigger additional complications, which in turn require more time, energy, and resources to resolve. The seemingly small act of putting something off today can grow into significant challenges in the future. The psychology behind neglect is often tied to short-term focus. Humans naturally prioritize immediate comfort or convenience, underestimating the cumulative effects of inaction. This is why education, mentorship, and awareness are critical. Understanding how compounding works in reverse, the way small lapses grow over time, provides motivation to act consistently even when the consequences of inaction are not immediately visible. Neglect does not have to be catastrophic. Awareness allows course correction at any stage. Small corrective actions, repeated consistently, can restore balance and redirect compounding toward positive outcomes. Just as a single investment or habit accumulates over time, so too can a single positive choice counteract prior neglect. The key is to recognize the problem early and take intentional steps to reverse it. Ultimately, the danger of neglect highlights the dual nature of compounding. It rewards diligence, patience, and intentionality, but it punishes inattention, procrastination, and disregard for small actions. Understanding this principle empowers us to protect what we value and invest consistently in our goals, relationships, health, and knowledge. Neglect is silent, but its effects are real, growing quietly until the consequences become undeniable. The lesson is simple. Small actions, whether positive or negative, accumulate over time. What we ignore today often becomes the challenge of tomorrow. By acting intentionally and consistently, we can harness compounding for growth, and by avoiding neglect, we prevent compounding from working against us. Applying compounding in life. Now that we've explored how compounding works, its reliance on patience, and the dangers of neglect, it's time to apply this principle intentionally to life. Compounding is not limited to finances. It is a universal force that shapes our habits, knowledge, health, and relationships. Understanding how to harness it transforms small, consistent actions into extraordinary outcomes. The first step is intentionality. Compounding only works when actions are purposeful and repeated consistently. Random effort, even if frequent, rarely produces meaningful results. Identify the areas that matter most: saving money, learning a skill, exercising, or building relationships, and commit to small, consistent actions. A daily 10-minute habit may feel insignificant now, but over months and years it accumulates into something substantial. The key is to prioritize consistently over intensity. Next, leverage the multiplier effect. Compounding grows fastest when efforts are combined and aligned. For instance, learning about personal finance while saving small amounts each month accelerates wealth creation more than either effort alone. Similarly, building a skill while practicing daily and seeking feedback compounds learning faster than practicing in isolation. Align your actions with complementary efforts, and compounding becomes even more powerful. Tracking progress is essential. When results are slow to appear, it is easy to lose motivation. Monitoring small improvements, noting consistent effort, and celebrating milestones reinforce persistence. Even small gains, when repeated over time, create momentum. Progress may appear invisible in the short term, but recording consistent effort allows us to recognize cumulative impact, reinforcing long-term commitment. Avoiding shortcuts is another crucial element. Compounding rewards steady, repeated effort over time. Attempts to hack results with sudden bursts of extreme action often fail because compounding depends on consistency and time. Long-term growth cannot be replaced by temporary intensity. Patience and persistence remain the essential ingredients as they allow repeated small actions to accumulate and multiply. Compounding also applies to knowledge and learning. Reading, reflecting, practicing, and applying lessons daily expands expertise exponentially over time. A few pages of reading each day, a single concept applied consistently, or a small skill practiced steadily may seem trivial. But over years, these efforts accumulate into deep knowledge, mastery, and understanding that far surpasses intermittent bursts of study. Relationships benefit similarly. Regular attention, small acts of kindness, listening, and follow-up create trust and deepen connection. Compounding works quietly in the background. Consistent care produces strong bonds, while neglect or inconsistency erodes trust over time. Simple actions, repeated faithfully, can transform relationships beyond what any single gesture could achieve. Health and wellness are equally affected. Daily exercise, proper nutrition, hydration, and sleep may feel minor in isolation, yet compounded over months and years, they create resilience, strength, and longevity. Small, sustainable routines outperform extreme, sporadic efforts because consistency allows the body and mind to adapt, grow, and improve incrementally. The final principle is to start early and stay consistent. Time is the greatest ally of compounding. The earlier we begin, the more opportunity exists for growth to accumulate and accelerate. Waiting, procrastinating, or relying on sudden big actions reduces the benefits of compounding. Every day counts. Small, consistent steps taken now multiply into extraordinary results later. Applying compounding in life is both practical and philosophical. It teaches patience, the value of persistence, and the importance of intentional action. It reminds us that extraordinary outcomes are rarely the result of sudden brilliance, luck, or force. They emerge from repeated, consistent choices aligned with purpose. Compounding turns ordinary effort into lasting impact, quietly magnifying our decisions over time. Ultimately, understanding and applying compounding allows us to work smarter, live intentionally, and transform the seemingly small into the remarkably large. Life becomes less about sudden breakthroughs and more about steady, deliberate actions that accumulate quietly but powerfully. When harnessed consciously, compounding becomes a force that works for us, turning modest beginnings into extraordinary outcomes and showing the remarkable power of patience, consistency, and intentionality. As we wrap up this chapter, the lesson is clear. Compounding rewards consistency, patience, and intentional effort. Small actions repeated over time grow quietly but powerfully, shaping our future in ways we often underestimate. But building wealth is only part of the journey. In the next chapter, we'll explore the critical distinction between getting wealthy and staying wealthy, how accumulating resources is just the beginning, and preserving them requires a different mindset, strategy, and discipline.